Oh, so we're diving into electronic harassment and targeted individuals today.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it's tricky, right? Because it kind of blurs the lines between these like out there theories
Yeah,
and, genuine worries about how technology can be misused.
absolutely.
So we're going deep on this audio recording from someone who says they actually experienced this firsthand.
Okay.
And they bring in this whole other element that I honestly wasn't expecting, fungal biofilms.
You know what's really interesting about this one is we're not, just dealing with a conspiracy theory here, but we're actually looking at someone's like lived experience.
Right.
And it's a good reminder that even in the most kind of, out there accounts,
Mm-hmm.
there can be these little pieces of truth
Yeah,
or at least, really valuable insights into just what it means to be human.
absolutely. And this person's account is definitely out there.
Yeah.
They start by describing these subtle, almost creepy skin changes, like trouble washing off dirt,
Yeah.
peeling skin, even the sensation like their body hairs are glued down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like think about like a horror movie, right?
Okay.
Like where it just slowly builds that suspense.
Yeah.
It's those small details that create this growing sense of unease.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
And it does, with the speaker's like central claim, they're covered in a biofilm fungal monster.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? And this is where it connects to Morgellons,
Right.
which, if you don't know, is a condition where people experience skin lesions.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they believe that there are fibers coming out of their skin.
Right. Morgellons is a whole other rabbit hole.
It is. Oh, yeah.
But this speaker, they're absolutely convinced that the root cause is this biofilm
Mm-hmm.
and that it's trapping dirt and allowing stuff to grow inside it.
So we've got biofilms, we've got Morgellons, but how does this tie into being a targeted individual?
Well, this is where things get really, really interesting. The speaker believes that this biofilm is actually amplifying the effects of the alleged targeting.
Okay.
They describe localized pain, twitching, even sensations that they say feel like microwave weapons.
Wait, so they're saying the biofilm like reacts to EMF or radio waves?
That's exactly what they're suggesting.
Wow.
And get this, their proposed solution is, well, it takes an unexpected turn.
I am intrigued. Lay it on me.
They claim that a saturated solution of potassium iodide is the answer.
Okay, for those of us who didn't exactly ace chemistry, what does saturated solution even mean?
So basically, it means you dissolve as much of a substance as you possibly can into a liquid.
Okay.
So in this case, we're talking potassium iodide powder in water
Mm-hmm.
until no more of it can dissolve.
Okay, got it.
So they're using this potassium iodide solution.
Yeah.
And they describe some pretty intense immediate effects.
Like what?
More pain
Yeah.
and like strange sensations in very specific areas.
Mm.
They interpret this as a solution, like actually attacking a deep-seated fungus.
So it's like no pain, no gain, but on a whole other level.
Right, exactly. They're enduring this discomfort because they believe it's proof the solution is working, that it's going after the root of the problem.
Wow. Okay, so they think it worked. Do they get better?
Well, they claim a complete recovery.
Really?
Yeah, feeling 100% free of those targeted individual symptoms after using potassium iodide.
Hmm.
And they're really adamant about this,
Okay.
pushing back against this idea that once you're targeted for life.
So they believe they like escaped this whole alleged targeting program.
Yeah.
But how did they even know they were a target in the first place? What were the signs?
Well, the speaker offers some clues. They point to changes in skin color, like a yellowish or sun-damaged appearance.
Oh, caused by a biofilm, they'd say?
Exactly. They also mention marks on the upper cheekbones, a pulled-back look to the eyebrows, and a feeling of paralysis as possible signs.
Paralysis, that's a little scary. Did they actually experience that?
Yes, they share this story about waking up one day with her left arm totally paralyzed, which lasted for days.
Oh, wow.
They compare it to the effects of a stroke or even Botox.
That definitely adds a chilling layer to this whole experience. Anything else?
Yeah, they also mention this weird sensation of feeling like they had bed bugs,
Huh.
even though they were the only one in their household who was affected.
So another potential sign, though a very strange one.
Right.
What's their ultimate message to listeners?
It's a call to action, specifically for those who believe they're targeted individuals or have Morgellons.
Okay.
They urge them to try boron and potassium iodide, claiming it destroys their program.
A bold claim, to say the least. So we've got this fascinating, if unsettling, firsthand account.
Yeah.
But before we jump to any conclusions, we need to step back and look at this critically.
Right. It's vital to separate their personal experience and beliefs from actual scientific and medical facts.
Okay, so let's start unpacking this. What do we actually know about biofilms? Are they real or just a figment of the imagination?
Well, biofilms are definitely a real phenomenon.
Okay.
They're these complex communities of microorganisms that can form on various surfaces, including the skin.
So not entirely made up,
No.
but are they as menacing as the speaker makes them out to be?
Well, while biofilms can be involved in infections, and they are notoriously difficult to remove,
Yeah.
it's crucial to distinguish that from the speaker's more fantastical claims.
Okay.
Biofilms aren't inherently evil or part of some grand scheme to harass people.
Got it. So biofilms, real, but not necessarily the villain in this story.
Exactly. Now let's address the Morgellons connection. As we mentioned, it's a bit controversial.
Yeah.
While some individuals who identify with Morgellons may have underlying medical conditions, a significant contributing factor is often delusions of parasitosis, or DOP.
Delusions of parasitosis. What's that?
It's a psychiatric condition where individuals have this persistent, unshakable belief that they're infested with parasites, even though there's no evidence. They might experience real sensations like itching or crawling,
Yeah.
but they attribute those sensations to imaginary insects or creatures.
So it's possible that some of what the speaker describes, especially that feeling of things crawling on their skin, could be linked to DOP?
That's a real possibility, and it highlights the importance of considering both physical and psychological factors when trying to understand these kinds of experiences.
Right. So we've got biofilms, which are real but not necessarily malicious, and Morgellons, which can involve both physical and psychological components. Now, what about this potassium iodide solution? Any truth to speaker's claims about its effects?
Well, potassium iodide does have legitimate medical uses, like treating certain thyroid conditions and protecting against radiation exposure.
Okay.
But self-treating with it can be really dangerous.
So not something to try at home, even if it sounds like this miracle cure.
Absolutely not. Any use of potassium iodide should be under the supervision of a medical professional.
Solid advice, but zooming out a bit, what can we learn from this speaker's story overall, even if we're skeptical of the whole targeted individual thing? What's the big takeaway here?
What I find truly fascinating is how powerful belief can be, especially when we're dealing with unexplained health issues.
Yeah.
This person's experience shows how a need for control can drive belief in conspiracy theories, even when those theories lack scientific basis.
It's like they were grasping at an explanation, trying to make sense of what was happening.
Right.
And this targeted individual narrative provided that, even if it wasn't actually grounded in reality.
Exactly. And that's something we see time and time again with conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
They offer a sense of order, a sense of control
Right.
in a world that can often feel very chaotic and unpredictable.
It's about finding a pattern, even if the pattern isn't really there.
Yeah.
Creating a story that helps us understand our experiences, even if it leads us down a really strange and potentially harmful path.
Precisely. That's why critical thinking is so crucial. It's about questioning those assumptions, evaluating evidence, and being cautious of narratives that rely on fear, suspicion, and blaming others.
Good advice, not just for this specific story, but for navigating the world of information in general.
Absolutely. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
We've gone from seemingly minor skin irritations to biofilms, Morgellons, and the unsettling world of targeted individuals.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
But we're not done yet. In part 2, we'll continue to analyze this case,
Okay.
exploring its implications and what it reveals about the very human need to make sense of things, even when it feels like the world is conspiring against us.
I look forward to it.
We just explored a pretty wild story about someone who thinks they were a targeted individual.
Yeah.
And it's easy to, I guess, just brush it off as another conspiracy theory, you know?
Right.
But there's something deeper here
Yeah, there is.
that I think we should look at.
Absolutely.
You know, their claims might sound far-fetched, but this person's experience really highlights like a core part of being human. Like our need to explain things, especially when we face something unsettling or unknown.
It's like, have you ever heard a weird noise in your house at night?
Oh, yeah.
Your mind instantly goes to the craziest explanation.
Totally. Even if it's probably just the wind.
Right. Exactly. We're just wired that way, to seek patterns, make connections,
Yeah.
even if they're not really there.
Especially with our health, right?
Oh, absolutely.
When something feels off and you don't know why,
Yeah.
it's natural to look for answers, even if they lead you down a rabbit hole.
And in this case, it seems that search led this person to the targeted individual narrative.
Right. It gave them a way to understand what was happening, even if scientifically it doesn't hold up.
And that's a key point. Belief systems, even the ones based on conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
they can give you this feeling of control.
Like you have agency in these overwhelming situations.
It makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
If you think some outside force is targeting you,
Right.
it almost gives you a reason for your suffering.
Exactly.
An enemy to fight.
You're not just a victim, you're in a battle.
But isn't there a danger in thinking like that?
Oh, for sure.
What if those beliefs stop someone from getting real medical help?
Right.
Or push them to try treatments that aren't proven or even dangerous?
It's a very valid concern, and it's why it's so important to approach these kinds of narratives with a healthy dose of skepticism.
So how do we do that? How do we engage with people who hold these beliefs, but in a way that's both compassionate and honest?
It's tough. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
I think a key part is focusing on our shared humanity.
Oh, okay.
Remember, people who believe in these theories, they're not so different from us.
Right.
They're often driven by the same basic needs.
Like what?
To feel safe, to understand the world, to find some kind of meaning.
Yeah, it's about remembering everyone has a story. Even the ones that sound outlandish.
Exactly. They can teach us something about being human.
And if we come at these conversations with empathy, with curiosity,
Yeah.
we can create a space for actual dialogue where people feel heard, even if their beliefs are different.
It's not about proving someone wrong.
Right.
It's about connection, understanding.
And from there, maybe we can start to gently challenge those beliefs, encourage them to question things.
Right. Offer different perspectives.
Help them develop the skills to evaluate information on their own.
That's so important.
Yeah, to figure out what's true, what's not.
It's crucial, especially now.
Right, with so much information coming at us all the time.
Exactly. We need to be able to assess sources, see the biases.
Yeah, figure out what's real and what's not.
It's really about empowering people.
This whole conversation, it just shows how important critical thinking is.
Oh, it's essential.
Not just for, like, conspiracy theories, but for life.
Absolutely, for making good decisions, for solving problems. Yeah, for making sense of the world.
Which is always changing.
Right. It's about being curious, asking questions, being open to being wrong.
I completely agree.
This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
Biofilms, Morgellons, targeted individuals, the power of belief.
It's really a journey through science psychology.
Yeah.
That human need to find meaning.
Even when things are uncertain.
Exactly.
And as we wrap up this part, I think the biggest takeaway is we need to approach these unconventional beliefs, the ones that seem out there, with both empathy and critical thinking.
Absolutely.
Listen to people, understand their fears, but also gently challenge what they think.
Help them see things from different angles.
And all the while, encourage them to be curious, to seek the truth.
Well said. Because in a world where information spreads so fast, critical thinking is our best tool.
It's how we navigate this crazy complex world.
So stay curious, keep asking questions, never stop learning.
We've been looking at this story, this person who believes they were a targeted individual. And it makes you think about how we try to make sense of things.
Right.
Especially when life feels kind of chaotic.
Absolutely.
And we talked about how the internet can, like, amplify these beliefs.
Yeah.
Creating these echo chambers where misinformation just spreads.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in that.
But how common is this targeted individual thing, really?
It's more widespread than you might think.
Really?
There are whole online communities dedicated to it.
Wow.
People share their stories, support each other.
I can see how that would be, I don't know, comforting in a way, but also kind of scary.
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
To find people who get what you're going through,
Mm.
but then what if it just reinforces these beliefs that might not be true?
Exactly. It can isolate people from other perspectives.
Yeah, from real information.
And that's the challenge, isn't it?
It is. How do we bridge that gap?
Yay.
How do we talk to people who are so deep in these belief systems without, dismissing them or sounding like we're better than them?
It's a delicate balance, for sure.
Yeah.
I think one approach is to focus on our shared humanity.
Okay.
Remember that people who believe in conspiracy theories,
Mm-hmm.
they're not fundamentally different.
Right.
They're driven by the same basic human needs.
Like what?
The need to feel safe,
Yeah.
to understand the world.
To define meaning.
Exactly. So it's about remembering that everyone has a story,
Yeah.
even if that story seems, I don't know, strange or out there,
Right. Those stories can still teach us something.
about what it means to be human.
And if we come at these conversations with empathy, with
Mhm.
genuine curiosity, then maybe we can actually have a real dialogue,
Right, where people feel heard and respected.
even if we don't agree.
It's not about winning an argument.
Yeah, or proving someone wrong.
It's about connection, understanding.
And maybe from there,
Yeah.
we can start to, I don't know, gently challenge those beliefs,
Mhm.
help them think critically,
And encourage them to question things.
give them different perspectives.
Right. Help them develop those tools to evaluate information.
Yeah, figure out what's real and what's not,
That's crucial.
especially now with so much information out there.
It's about empowering people to think for themselves.
This whole deep dive has really shown how important critical thinking is.
It's essential not just for dealing with conspiracy theories,
But for everything.
for life, for making good decisions, for solving problems,
For understanding this crazy world.
which is constantly changing.
Right. It's about being curious, asking questions, being open to the possibility that we might be wrong.
I couldn't agree more.
So we've covered a lot.
Well,
Biofilms, Morgellons, targeted individuals,
Yeah.
power of belief.
it's been quite a journey.
It has. It's this intersection of science, psychology,
And that human need to find meaning.
even when faced with the unknown.
And as we wrap up, I think the most important thing to remember is
Yeah.
we need to approach these unconventional beliefs, the ones that seem out there,
Right.
with both empathy and critical thinking.
Absolutely.
Listen to people's stories, understand where they're coming from,
Yeah.
but also, gently challenge their assumptions.
Help them see things from different angles.
Exactly.
And all the while encourage them to be curious, to keep searching for the truth.
Because in a world where information spreads so fast,
It's almost overwhelming.
critical thinking is our most powerful tool.
It's how we navigate this complex world.
So stay curious, keep asking those questions, and never stop seeking knowledge.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.